Hello and welcome. Chris Principe, publisher of Financial IT, with you from Sibos, the great Swift event every year. And this year, we're in Beijing, China. Beijing is one of the capitals for finance, for industry, for business, and of course for China. We're pleased to be here to see everything going on, to hear the latest and greatest. And we were very lucky to have Cat with us, who's going to give us a view into EY and some great things that are happening.
Thanks, Chris. I'm Cat Haines, EY's Global Customer Service Transformation Leader. I'm excited to be at Sibos as well to really learn and see what's happening in the world of finance at the moment.
Well, great. Can you tell us a little bit more about your role and what your remit really is for EY? Because transformation is always such a great word.
It's a great word, and it is a huge area. I'm really in the customer domain, and for many years it's been about how do we better use data to really understand customers, understand their behaviour and what customers are trying to achieve, and then how can we execute that across the business. So bringing together the people, the technology and the processes so that we can deliver better customer experiences across the board.
So, when I hear people, technology, customers, and especially banks, it can be quite challenging to bring these things. Can you speak to some of those challenges?
Well, I think the number one challenge is everybody understands that we have a huge amount of data, but how we use that data and how banks can better connect that data across their ecosystem is one of the first challenges they find. And then having connected the data, can they actually generate the insights and use those insights effectively and at the right moment to really have those conversations and better conversations with their customers?
Well, it's quite interesting because in today's world, data is more valuable than gold in the vault.
Yeah.
So being able to use, and banks possess huge amounts of data, but I think accessibility, usability, and gaining value from it is part of the challenge. How are you helping this?
We're helping across the board. As you say, how do you connect the data? How do you have the right data? The data engineers and the architecture of the systems to be able to do that is probably the first part. And then having the data scientists who can really generate those insights and create the analytical understanding. But you have to connect that with the behavior piece and understanding of the customer, understanding employees. To be able to actually get the right outcomes. So it really is that transformation because you have to combine the people and the data and technology to get to the right solutions.
Well, when you talk about the people, this is always a challenging part. And I know when I think of EY, I always think about, a company that's more personalized in service rather than we have products or we have things that, it's more about developing that.
I think it's about the experience we bring, that we've been working with many clients across financial services. In fact, I work outside of financial services as well, and bringing those experiences from other industries and really some different thinking. We're all people and consumers at heart, and really understanding us as people and our behaviour, I think is key to being successful.
So in your area, what are some of the ways that you're able to meet some of these challenges?
Well, using the technology better to really understand and be pragmatic about what we're trying to achieve. How can we do better than we do today? How do we start to really shape that better experience? And then being able to experiment and to communicate effectively to customers and to employees. We've got to win the hearts and minds if we want people to do things differently. So I think a lot of it's around that cultural change as well, and how do we really drive that forward?
So also, when I think of EY, I think, the breadth of the platform, the reach, the access. I mean, banks, big and small, corporations, SMEs. In the banking space, are the challenges different between the large banks you work with versus maybe the new banks?
I think so. I think for the large banks, they are large. They have to look across their whole enterprise and really understand end to end. And they're very good at how do we comply? How do we make sure from a regulatory and a risk perspective that we keep our customers, our data safe? For the newer, smaller banks, they are more nimble, but they have different challenges as well. They don't necessarily have the same range of products and services or the same depth of experience. So there are challenges at both ends of the scale.
And now there are big banks, of course, have breadth of space across globally, And then you have the smaller banks, especially the very new ones where they're the latest technology. They don't have the legacy problem. How can you enable them to get out there and be able to challenge maybe the big banks?
I think the challenge for some of the neobanks is really now their range of products and services and getting the banking licenses and building that credibility. And they need to move beyond having some of those simpler transaction products. So they're looking for that greater depth of product and scale. And that's still the opportunity, I think, for the larger, more established banks is how do we become more nimble, better at the customer experience whilst we've got that scale and that broader range of services.
But so that with all of that you have going on, you've taken the time to come here to Sibos. Can I ask you why Sibos?
For me, Sibos is really important because you see so many people are here. All of our clients, I think we've got a range of clients, of vendors, and really the breadth of conversations we're able to have. It's a combination of being able to come here and have conversations, but also attending sessions, listening, getting the latest ideas. I think from across the financial services sector, we really see this as one of the key events to be at.
Well, and I would like to add, you'll be one of those experts on the panel a little later today,
yes,
sharing your information with the Sibos community, which is commendable. And I think a bit of an honor, right?
Oh, very much so. And I'm really looking forward to it. We've got a panel on shaping the future of equitable AI, which I think is a fascinating topic. And for me, as we're moving into this next opportunity and generation of technology, how do we start to really shape that future that it is equitable, that we are intentional in how we design? We don't continue with some of the issues we've had over the last few centuries where we haven't necessarily considered everybody's needs.
Oh, I don't want you to give too much away from the exciting news you're going to deliver at the panel later, but thank you for that little bit. So when we talk about Sibos and what it's really about, I think one of the big parts is where is it going forward? What's going to happen? Swift has some very interesting things for next year, but what does EY have?
I think for us, it is continuing that journey of how do we shape the future and how do we really pivot. As we're seeing transformation, we're seeing that intersection of technology and human. And I think it's a really critical time. As I said, we've got the opportunity to get this right, to be intentional and to think through what we do. We need to really take that opportunity now, not allow the future to happen to us, but really make sure we're there, we're having the conversations and we're shaping where do we head.
Well, it sounds exciting. There's great things that are going to happen in the future. You're one of our leaders in the future. We appreciate that. And thank you very much for spending some time with us at Sibos.
Thanks, Chris. Lovely.
Chris Principe, Financial IT.